Hey, this passage kind of goes hand in hand with the other one talking about mold being a leprous disease that God puts in people's houses. This is from Leviticus chapter 11. I'm going to read verses 1 through 23. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying to them, "Speak to the people of Israel, saying, From among all the land animals, these are the creatures that you may eat. Any animal that has divided hoofs and is cloven-footed and chews the cud, such you may eat. But among those that chew the cud or have divided hoofs, you shall not eat the following: the camel, for even though it chews the cud, it does not have divided hoofs, it is unclean for you. The rock badger, for even though it chews the cud, it does not have divided hoofs, it is unclean for you. The hare, for even though it chews the cud, it does not have divided hoofs, it is unclean for you. The pig, for even though it has divided hoofs and is cloven-footed, it does not chew the cud, it is unclean for you. Of their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch, they are unclean for you." Okay, camels have divided hoofs. They have pads to protect their hoofs, but they have divided hoofs. What verse 5 refers to as rock badger, most people think is the hyrax. Hyraxes do not chew cud. In verse 6, hares or rabbits do not chew cud either. There is something that they actually do that I've seen given as an explanation for why this verse says that they chew cud, and that is that rabbits eat their own feces. But they actually do something a little different. Unlike most other mammals, lagomorphs, including domestic rabbits, produce two types of droppings: fecal pellets, the round dry ones you usually see in the litter box, and cecotropes. The latter are produced in a region of the rabbit's digestive tract called the cecum, a blind end pouch located at the junction of the small and large intestines. The cecum contains a natural community of bacteria and fungi that provide essential nutrients and may even protect the rabbit from potentially harmful pathogens. How does the rabbit get these essential nutrients? She eats the cecotropes as they exit the anus. So, rabbits don't eat their own feces, and hyraxes do not even produce cecotropes. Neither of these animals chew cud. Going on, these you may eat of all that are in the waters. Everything in the water that has fins and scales, whether in the seas or in the streams, such you may eat. But anything in the seas or the streams that does not have fins and scales, of the swarming creatures in the waters and among all the other living creatures that are in the waters, they are detestable to you, and detestable they shall remain. Of their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall regard as detestable. Everything in the waters that does not have fins and scales is detestable to you. These you shall regard as detestable among the birds. They shall not be eaten, they are an abomination. The eagle, the vulture, the osprey, the buzzard, the kite of any kind, every raven of any kind, the ostrich, the nighthawk, the seagull, the hawk of any kind, the little owl, the cormorant, the great owl, the water hen, the desert owl, the carrion vulture, the stork, the heron of any kind, the hoopoe, and the bat. Bats are not birds, bats are mammals. And before the explanation is given that what it's talking about is birds is something else, the exact same word for birds here is used in Genesis 1:20. And God said, "Let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the dome of the sky." The word in Hebrew is oph. It is translated as bird, birds, or fowl. The word in the Greek Septuagint is peteina, which is translated as bird or fowl. It is saying that bats are birds. They are not birds. Moving on. All winged insects that walk upon all fours are detestable to you. But among the winged insects that walk on all fours, you may eat those that have jointed legs above their feet, with which to leap on the ground. Of them you may eat, The locust according to its kind, the bald locust according to its kind, the cricket according to its kind, and the grasshopper according to its kind. But all other winged insects that have 4 feet are detestable to you. Insects do not have 4 feet. Insects do not walk on all fours. Insects have 6 legs. All of them. If you're going to make an extrapolation here and say that verse 21 is talking about insects walking on all fours and possibly having additional jointed legs, which are used to leap, the locust and the cricket could probably be described in that way. Locusts and crickets actually use all 6 legs to walk. And what's translated here as bald locust can also be referring to beetles. Beetles do not have jointed legs above their feet with which to leap on the ground. Right? Now, there is one explanation that I've thought of that makes a little sense, and that is that upon initial observation, camels may not appear to have divided hoofs. Hares and rock badgers may appear to chew the cud based on how they move their mouths when chewing. And it's possible that bats were classified among birds because they had wings. And it's possible that upon observation that these insects may have appeared that they walk on 4 legs. Okay. The problem here is that in verse 1 it says that the Lord spoke this to Moses and Aaron. Why would an omniscient Lord say these things? Is he assuming that the Israelites are going to be too ignorant to be able to understand actual science about the animals being described? Or is there another explanation? I'd be interested in hearing some.